Good evening and welcome to another scene in the living world of darkness, the Camarilla and Anarch venue. Tonight we start our scene with the Spillane couple arriving at one of the finest opera houses in the city. Um, it's the very best end of, well, it's in connection to Broadway. It's not on Broadway specifically, but it's close to it. And yes, it seems to be the best and the brightest of the city, or at least the wealthiest, who are gathering to see an opera, it seems. But yes, Sam's wife is relatively excited. She seems, well, maybe a bit reserved, considering it's been a rough patch for the two, but they are actually out on the night of the town. She loves that very much. And apparently she's also here to meet someone. So, Samuel, have we been on who exactly we're meeting, or I'm assuming did you have tickets?
Hi. Ordered them online. So convenient nowadays. Yeah. The guy we're meeting, he's a friend of mine. Goes by the name of Theodore.
You're standing outside the opera house. There is a lot of talking, and there's a lot of people coming in and out. Um, but at some point, you will see this man. He will just uh, ah, Monsieur Spillane, please come with me.
Thank you, good
And
sir.
he will just he just gives a nod to one of the people checking the tickets and letting people in. You get let in just on the side. It seems there's not much fuss of it. It just ah on behalf of he looks around on behalf of the management. I would very much like to be very welcome. Um, he will join you in just a moment, and he will lead you over to a door. Um, it says it doesn't say staff only, but it could easily say that. But it doesn't say that. But he just puts in a code on a notepad, a keypad, and opens the door and closes the door behind you. You enter a small, not a staircase, but there's stairs upwards, and you enter a room. Um, there's a door, but it's not locked. You enter a room that looks as though it is. Um, it's decorated as though it was a long time ago that someone decorated this.
Hmm.
Um, like a lot of red upholstery. Um, there's some. I mean, two sofas and some very comfy looking chairs. It's decked out. There's very nice furniture, but it seems quite old, most of it.
Sam soaks this postmodern, not postmodern, early modern period, something along those lines, uh, atmosphere in. And as he's walking up the stair, arm in arm with his wife, I'll just say, yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Old blood, you know the drill. He's play nice and all that. Gives her a wink.
well, truth be told, we haven't really met too many of the. And she looks at you, older people, together. Not many though. She doesn't seem tense, but she does seem a bit nervous. Um, she does, but she is also looking at the room, and it doesn't take too long before a door opens, and this guy comes in. He's just, it was very, very good for you to take me up on my invitation. Please, please come. Oh, and this must be your very, very, ah, very beautiful wife. And he goes over and bows and kisses her hand as she.
I'm just trying to get Theodore's original lyrics out of my head. Oh my god.
And
I'm so sorry.
and he just comes and says, "Well, I knew that Mrs. Blaine had good taste, but wow, I must say I am quite stunned. Your beauty is truly a thing to behold." She seems a little. She's not quite sure what to say, but she just smile and nod and just um, please, please, both of you, relax. We should take every opportunity we get to relax as much as possible. Please, please, the two of you, sit down. And he um, he asks you if either of you would want a drink of something.
Hey, a glass of champagne, if you would.
He goes over to a cupboard and finds three champagne glasses. Looks at your plus one, and she just says, "For me as well, please." And he does pour up three glasses of champagne and presents them to you. And just, it's been quite some current situation being what it is. It's quite logical why I have so little company these days, but it is good to know that there is some people interested in the finer of things in life.
Well, if I aim to fit in more time to broaden one's horizons, I don't think I ever would.
Well, I hope I can change that in time. He smiles to the both of you. He seems his normal self. He's very cordial, and at some point he will just look at you and just, um, you must tell me, how did you two meet? I'm uh, well, I suppose you're both of well, Irish heritage, so I suppose that could explain it, but I'm sure there's a good story there somewhere.
Sam kind of shifts a look towards Eileen, almost of this. There's a bit of that I'll slice smirk. It's kind of that silent communication of should you tell it or should I? He doesn't yeah.
Um, and
How eager does his Sam's wife?
Eileen, Eileen seems she's not as tense or as nervous as she was before, but she still seems a bit on guard. Um, Not that she's scared, but maybe she's not sure that she should take the word since it's you that's well. What should we
Ancilla
say?
versus Ghoul.
Yeah,
What an unequal
something like
power
that.
relationship. Um, Yeah, Sam will, upon this silent arrangement between the two being made, um, will perk up. Believe it or not, we actually met in Boston during my younger years.
Ah, as students or simply, well, at an establishment?
I A bunch of highly miffed anti-establishment students we were.
Hmm. Well, I could think as much. No, no, you do seem really, you two really seem to fit each other well. I must say, I'm very glad that you could make it here. Although, hmm, he looks at both of you and just says, "Well, perhaps, well, this is not the time to think of such things, but I truly think it would be a shame." He looks to Eileen and just, it would truly be a shame if you were to not at least entertain the notion of having this beauty become one of us at some point.
A roll for that. That's uh that's something that's a very bold declaration that might throw Sam off his game, so I'm gonna roll manip sub. Um yeah, I'm not rolling too well with this. At least my 8 dice. It doesn't matter. He's cool. He's still calm, and wow, I actually, I can't believe you actually didn't get that roll. That's kind of funny.
Yeah,
I got two
that's
successes, so
yeah. So, but
Sam.
yeah, it's not what you think. The role that was not what you think it was.
Ah,
I actually need to roll again, to be honest. It's 7 because that is
oh damn!
yeah, but that's again. I don't think it's what you think it is.
It probably is not
He's
that.
but um, Eileen just Eileen seems to keep her cool somewhat. She doesn't seem to react too much to it. But Theodore just sits there and seemingly smiles and just well, again, I know that such things are well, long time coming, and I suppose we should have a city structure before we should even entertain such notions. Of course,
I don't want to break the third and all that.
quite understandable. Quite understandable. Ah, you two are in for a treat. And there's a small ring um, up in the corner. This is like sort of a bell, but I just we are about to start the first act. It seems. Please come with me. And he gets up and opens the door he came in of, and you go down a short corridor, and you come out into a you come up on a balcony, but this is clear that this is a room that is isolated, or you know, an opera where you have several rooms along the balconies, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
This is centered more or less in the middle of the balcony, like one of the perfect spots. It's a little higher than the middle, but it's a perfect spot. And yeah, you can't see much of the other of the audience from here, but you can see the stage completely and fully.
Yeah. It's just
And
the perfect spot.
yeah, it seems handpicked. At least you could say that. And he just um, There are free seats laid out, and he will just he sits down and just please. Oh, um, and he will just look to the both of you and just say anything. Just please enjoy. I envy you almost. First time to hear this opera is ah, quite a joyous occasion. And you will see the opera will start. And for the sake of time and of the scene, um, it is the first act of a opera that is called The Marriage of Figaro. It is sung in Italian, and it is about a in the time of it's in the like 17 somethings 16 1700s. It is about a commoner who is struggling to marry his wife, and it is not as heavy as other operas are. It is somewhat lighthearted for an opera, and it is a love drama, and it is as with Mozart's pieces, quite a good opera. And is you I mean, you will, as you're not as what shall we say, in tune with what's going on, and not as um, appreciative as Theodore, you're guessing is. You can see that his focus is entirely on the stage. Like he's living this, and as you're as the curtain goes down for the first act, there will be a lot of clapping. He will also get up and clap, and he will simply just lead you into the room once again.
Hmm. Sam claps, very, very entertained by the performance. Even if he couldn't understand it, but I mean that's something he came
You
in
can
actually
see
expecting the
that
vocal.
that Eileen is actually maybe you shared it, but she actually seemed to enjoy it quite a bit. She really smiles, also claps, and just um, and as you get in and sit down, Theodore will just he will do have some small talk, but he will also begin to explain some of the things a bit more musical about what was going on and how he does like how the composer has uses some things somewhere, and you I'm assuming you don't understand much of it, and it's he catches himself. You notice that he catches himself at some point and just shift his topic because he himself just realizes that he's probably not making a lot of sense. Um, but he does give you another drink, and as you're sitting there, Theodore will just look at you and just let's say I was a little not that I mind. I mean, putting on another face is not that difficult, but I must say I was a little surprised with your request. But again, it's not a problem.
I
Request.
apologize. It's a situation we've both found ourselves in. I believe might compromise us both. I know it's a rather rude thing to suggest.
Hmm. Well, for some people, I suppose it would be rude. Hmm. But for you, I suspect that there are good reasons for such requests, and trust in this situation is something we have to be careful with. But for those who have earned it, He nods to you, very lightly, but he nods. I will extend certain courtesies. He smiles quite warmly and just,
I do thank you for honouring it. Needless to say, it doesn't go unappreciated.
well, I hope to, well, in return, at least awaken a bit of appreciation for this form of art, which is so very dear to myself, I must say.
Hmm.
You can tell that he's a bit more flashy, or like fills the room a bit more. He seems a little bit more not bragging but relaxed, and he's also seems the way he sits. He leans more down in the chair than he normally does, and he's quite relaxed and seems quite at ease.
Oh. Oh, and you didn't hear this from me, but and he kind of leans in to whisper, or talk quietly rather. Antoinette's not just miffed at yourself. She also wants to take a shot at Critias.
Ah, yes. Fate seems to weave a very tangled, weird web around us, doesn't it? Such a formidable person dubs into our city in the midst of all this chaos.
I can't tell what's more chaotic, the war or the politics.
Oh, the two are the same. Well, are very, very much entwined. Not very directly visible or easy to comprehend how, but most of the time they are. Philosopher. Think of it. A philosopher of the oldest traditions, the most famous in the world.
Hmm.
Here in our city. Quite the thing.
Hey, intellectualism tends to breed culture.
That it does indeed, Mrs. Blaine. But, well, hmm. I do not know what brought him here, but I cannot think that it was merely the chance to poke at her. But, well,
I have an idea.
well, I suppose you couldn't. I think he would consider it at least a perk of whatever brings him here. The perk of getting to annoy her and her cohorts would be a lovely thing for him, I'm quite sure. I've not had too many dealings with him. I tend to keep away from, well,
I know that he has quite a history.
oh, yes. I think that is selling it short a bit, to be honest, but
Hmm.
well, I have a very, very simple rule. If someone is potentially as old and as, well, as powerful as he is, stay well out of his way.
I generally consider it in my best interest to leave him to his own handiwork.
We might not have a choice if she involves herself as much as I fear she might, and he becomes, what shall we say, persistent as to, well, as his blood would dictate. Well, we might not be able to stay out of it for too long, but, well, here's to hoping.
I, of the involvement of so many powers investing themselves into the city, uh, The the hope of a peaceful transition for me seems to be fading, it seems.
Well,
I hope that we can all come together, but I know that
well,
some individuals on the grounds have been getting quite aggressive.
honestly, many of these powers interest themselves in the city. May their interest might be fleeting, and what's this about? And some of the things have either moved on and met their end. Their interests might shift, and they might leave.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that this is a certainty, and yes, what shall we say? The Big Apple is not necessarily considered being sent here from Europe is not normally seen as a well, promotion, shall we say. There's a reason for it.
Hmm. I myself found US somewhat more to my liking. There's a bit more flexibility here, to be honest. It's strange, the whole notion of trying to get someone out of sight, out of mind usually just ends up empowering the individual.
Indeed.
Sending them on to greener pastures that are less fenced
Well,
off.
there's seldom a dull year in this city, that I must conclude. From what I've heard and from experience myself, there are quite a few different people in the city, and, well, I can't say I'm too disappointed. I've been enjoying this. But then again, my unique clan, or my clan's case, I'm hiding and staying out of sight. It's not that um, like normal. For everyone else, I think it is a nightmare, but oh well. We must all adapt. We must all hope to survive as best we can. But if we do not at least change or at least adapt something as to our changing situations, we are doomed. But I know
I
you understand this.
hmm. A concern actually of mine is that I know you have the city of the support of many of the young blood within this city, although I think some of them are pushing a bit, perhaps too hard, and maybe causing unneeded backlash on yourself, Alec in particular.
Oh,
Well,
so what makes you say that?
I'm aware that how to say this. While we wish for things to change, we do also want to maintain the decorum that we've managed to establish. Alec has been going around disrespecting individual status as well as my own, and my fear is that it will reflect poorly on those he supports. No doubt his sire isn't pleased.
Hmm.
Selena, of course, is, well, to be honest, if anyone knows who she is and she seems supporting them, that makes them almost, it's a shame. She becomes her situation makes it so that she's something of a toxic figure to whoever she supports.
For the moment, I would. Well, I suppose I would agree.
Individuals who are more on the traditional side of the spectrum, or even somewhat moderate, would be inclined to oppose whoever she's supporting just because of what she's guilty of. And the messages that have been sent around about her within the Camarilla, it of course could be used to her advantage. She could support her own opponent and fuel opposition. But unfortunately, she doesn't appear to be in any position to alter the chain of events currently. She did attempt to acquire my political support, and well, I had to rebuff her for it. Because she does not get to demand things from me, from someone of my station.
Mm.
I believe her desperation may be driving her to certain actions that may prove self-destructive in the long run, if not the short run.
He seems to. Whether or not he's heeding your words or he's gauging something, it's hard to tell. He just sit there for a moment, thinks, and just. Well, as I said. As I said, I really do appreciate all the lessons you can learn these nights.
Mm.
This is one thing I'm not, well, you can gauge a lot, even from young kindred, about exactly what to do and what not to do in these situations. I really, really hope that we will soon be able to kick these butt off the streets.
Mm.
Honestly, I believe many, well, they would happen no matter what, I suppose. Political upheavals and infighting is normal, but they are exasperated by our situation, shall we say. The sooner it will end, the better.
Aye, I'll certainly drink to that.
One thing is, if two are pissed at each other, then they have their havens on different sides of the city and don't have to meet. But if they have to run around each other in a closed space underground, well, it does not really help matters too much. And he smiles. He's somewhat restrained. He smiles to you.
Mm.
Uh, he's implying certain things, but you know what he's implying as he's smiling at you.
What is he implying? Because I feel bad now. I got half the message. I didn't get the other half.
Yeah, like he's saying that he's the two of you have a problem with each other for more than one reason, which is fine. But he's implying that it's probably not helping that you have to more or less stay within close proximity to each other under this
Hmm.
very stressful situation. That's essentially what it's implying.
Indeed. My personal opinion on the matter is that if some of them could be whipped into shape, they could get a lot more done for the city and for yourself. They seem more than willing.
Oh, I'm quite sure that they will. I have confidence in them.
I hope it pans out.
As do I. But let us not. We're boring your dear wife. Still, he smiles over to her. He just, please, I do believe it is also time for second act, and he will just escort the two of you over to an act that will come and go. Of
Sam,
the
in the meantime, will apologise for effectively inadvertently shutting his wife out of a conversation because she'd have no idea what the fuck they're talking about for like 75% of it.
Hmm. Um, as you are finishing, and you notice that he doesn't clap as much, and he's just sitting there, just looking at the screen, and you'll notice that he's just looking at the curtain as it's gone down for a couple of moments. He doesn't clap; he's just sitting there, just looking, and then he just like very slightly just shakes his head and gets up and goes into the room and continues talking. Um, just um, he will start conversing Eileen this time. He'll just first he'll do some small talk, but at some point his talk will go over to he will just he'll just look at you to start with. Mrs. Blaine, would it be permissive of me to, and he just gestures over to your wife, ask your wife certain things that are related to our, well, condition?
Oh, yes, Eileen is in the know. It's perfectly fine.
Oh, of that I have no doubt. And just instead of me sitting here talking to myself, uh, he will ask her about what she's gathered from this thing that you and Theodore share. And it's not too invasive. It's more or less just to get her perspective, I suppose you could say. And he waits for her. He asks her like what she's to think of it, and he doesn't correct her in anything. It's like you would normally think. Normally, you would not have an elder talk to a ghoul, really,
No.
unless it's orders being talked. But this is another ghoul. You know, this is something you've probably never seen before.
No, this is a very interesting experience for Sam. He's almost analytical about it. He's very curious to see where it's going and why it's happening.
And he does make a couple of jokes or polite. Like he seems very human in this. Not only does he seem that, but he also just does not have the distance that he would normally have. Like normally, you would have a very clear distance
Hmm.
between an, any recognized Camarilla member and anyone's ghoul. Um, but he just like this is the most normal thing ever. Like this is like he appears quite human and very polite, like anyone talking at a theater or something like a venue like this. Although the room you're sitting in is not typical, but um, yeah, and he will just converse her, and yes, and you will be led into the third act, and
Oh no!
um, you will notice that Theodore again just sits there and seems to enjoy the moment while the third act rolls and ends. The guy doesn't clap, but he just sits there and seems to just take in the sights and the sounds. And your wife gets up, and I don't know if you get up, but she stands there and just looks at Theodore and just looks at the door.
Yeah, Sam will rise from his chair once the curtains close.
And yeah, Theodore remains seated.
Oh. Sam kind of looks out towards the stage, sees that the curtains are closed.
Yeah, you can hear a bit of sound down from the orchestra pit. There's like one or two that seems to be fine tuning some of their notes, and while you're doing that, Theodore will just um again he'll just get up and just delightful, delightful, absolutely wonderful. Please, 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 and he goes into the room once again. Is there anything you would like to discuss with him?
Yeah, there's one thing Sam would like to discuss with him regarding the few the few regarding the Tremere and the Markavians, as they have not yet made a decision on what's his face. This would be in the midst of small talk. It would be like, Sam starts off with small talk and still has his wife involved in the conversation before the topic inevitably changes towards politics. They probably discussed a show a bit in full act, as it was Sam's first time, and he enjoyed it a great deal, actually. But yeah, after a while of conversing, you'll say, I know that I'm aware that the Malkavians, and actually, now that I think about it, Tremere themselves seem to have abstained from the political game occurring in the city right now.
Well, Mr. Spillane, given that it is Clan Malkavia and Clan Tremere, would you honestly expect those two clans to do anything else but what they're doing right now?
Honestly, the Tremere, I suppose not. Although Malkavians, you can never really be certain. Although there aren't really any, there aren't really many in the city right now. I know they can more or less they can tip the scales how they please at this point. Although
The thing
I'm aware
is,
that. Oh, pardon.
well, honestly, one should, in my mind, not build one's plan on getting the support of Clan Mercavian. And the Tremere will follow who gets results, which is why I'm confident that, well, Maria Antoinette is not going to come and lead. She's not, well, she will claim results, but I will take those results from her. And once I do that, well, she really can't claim too much, too many results. Besides, I have a fairly good understanding with the regent. And
Aye. Local support from the city Tremere might be slightly lacking on certain matters. Although, if there's something of interest here, it would be that some of us are being sent off for, well, I'm sure you've already been made aware that some of us are going to be going off a diplomatic mission soon.
well, better late than never, I'd say.
Hmm.
Would
Might be
you
worth. Oh, sorry.
require, well, would you require advice for that, by the way?
I would take over help I'm entitled to receive. I have a fairly good idea of what I want to do, but I'm always open to
Where were
suggestions.
where specifically are you going? I'm aware that there are different targets. Well, targets, but
Yes, I believe. OC, I don't know if Sam has actually been informed of this or not. Because I know OC where he's going, but I don't know also if he's basically been told off camera or not, because it hasn't been blue booked. So I haven't been told in scene, so I'm assuming that is not the case, as this is just between IC messages between me and another ST. So I'm going to assume for this scene that Sam does not know where he's going because
no,
I
it's
don't
fine.
know.
Theodore will just say, well, let me know if you require a helping hand. I might be able to. He is rather busy running interference and all that. And of course, he has other things to tend to, but I might convince Mr. Kellogg to give you a hand if you require it, and if he's available, of course.
Ooh, I would appreciate that a great deal. Man, certainly. I haven't seen you. I haven't actually seen Mr. Kellogg ever since what happened at
There's a
Elysium.
very good reason for that. As I said, he is running interference.
Hmm.
As he's not a native to our city, he has also very many other, well, jobs to maintain. But what I have been having him doing, well, we had a bit of a rough patch to begin with, but we've come to a professional understanding, I suppose you could call it. He's been running interference and helping me hide this place, among other things, which has helped me a great deal, and in return I have helped him with some things, but he might just be able to help you out, if possible. Um, but yes, he has been out of the city. His, well, I suppose you could call it instincts or well, hunches. He was not confident that the city would be as stable as it had been for the foreseeable future, so he left.
Oh,
I'm
can't
quite,
necessarily blame him for that.
I'm quite, I'm quite confident that the fact that he was invited to an Elysium and then ambushed and almost died in that Elysium had something to do with him not staying around too long.
I think that would be an accurate estimate as to the logic of his actions, yes.
Just a guess, I'd say. He is quite an ordered and, well, what do they call it? Ordered man. He likes things to be set in very, very strict um, order and systems. And, well, if something deviates from plan, if Elysium is not secure, well, this bothers him quite, quite a lot. So
I
I'm not fond of it as well. I think he takes more of a, I hate to say existential, mm, take it as an existential threat, but almost. He seems to bother him quite a lot.
well, considering what happened was seems coincidentally tied to his arrival, as in he arrived and then shortly within his arrival he was ambushed. I can't exactly blame him for covering his bases, so to speak.
That, too, is, well, an unfortunate detail, but
I
you are correct.
Unfortunate circumstances. As for myself, I'll probably be dealing with the Giovanni or the Assamites. I
Hmm.
can't imagine myself being sent to negotiate with the Setites, even though I'm quite well connected to one of them.
Giovanni or the Asmonds. Hmm. Cannot say I envy you.
Oh, I know an Assamite that was actually a member of the Camarilla. She was
There are
actually
some.
hmm, she was uh, on the same investigation I was, although, well, different investigation, same cult. So we ended up running into each other. Actually, had to carry her out of a burning building. Although we both took a hit for each other, so we caught it even.
Well, never cease to amaze me. Knight in shining armor. He smiles. But
Yeah,
please, it is the last act, and I really, this is the finale, the grand finale. Please, and he will lead you into the room once more. And the last act will come and go. And once again, you'll notice that Theodore will just sit and enjoy the aftermath of this performance.
Simon notices this time and seems to take action to remedy this. I'm actually gonna have him make a. What would this role be like? Perception, kindred law. It seems a bit
Mm,
weirdly reminiscent of a
you can
certain
make an
thing.
intelligence kindred lore, please.
Yeah. Oh, I get 3 successes.
Mm. After a little, Theodore just gets up and just and he will lead you in, and there will be refreshments. There is a bit of hors d'oeuvres now, and a bit more refreshments, drink, and he will spend like 20 minutes, half an hour conversing, and um, he will again very friendly, very welcoming, and as he usually is, and yeah, he will at the end he will have his ghoul, the same guy you saw before, lead you out of the building.
Yeah, Sam will say his farewells to Theodore in a lovely evening, and
Hmm.
you know, very much enjoyed himself. You'll have to come back here sometime, hopefully when Theodore is the prince and not Maria. Oh god,
Hmm.
the things she'd do to destroy this place and raise it of any of Theodore's horrible taint would
Hmm.
sadden Spillane greatly. But he turns to his wife. Did you have a fun time?
It was beautiful, but that you say that he was an old one. Why did he talk to me at all? I've never really experienced. He was very open and friendly.
I, not all of us that are old are the cold, standoffish type. Theodore's a bit of an exception to the rule.
Well, I hope we can meet him again.
Yeah, he's a friendly guy. I'm sorry I ended up meandering into politics and all that. I ended up
Oh,
shutting
Sam.
you out.
No, it's quite all right, Sam. I'll catch up eventually. But she looks at you and just, have you? She looks at you again. It's clear that she's thinking of something that's she's not, seemingly not going to say. She's just looking at you at this point. It seems not, she seems a bit concerned.
Sam himself seems a little bit concerned as he sees her holding back and says, "What is it? It's not like you to restrain yourself."
Do you remember what you said? Something that, well, I cannot say that it's. You said that it would be a travesty or something. Something like, um, it would be a shame if I were not to join you. Have you ever have you ever thought of that? I don't want to I don't want to die, just leave you. I don't want for us to part. We have an opportunity for the two of us to be together like this, seemingly forever.
The thoughts crossed my mind before, I'll be honest with you. But there are certain rules to it, and it's not what it's all cracked up to be. I don't want to be throwing you to the dogs or anything. It's more complicated than it looks.
You wouldn't be
And
throwing me to the dogs. You would we would do it together.
I know. And yeah, because they're in. Well, actually, are they in the car when they're talking about this?
Yeah, you let's
Okay,
just
yeah,
say
that's fine.
when they're in the car. I'm not I'm not willing to pressure you or anything. Just just wanted to know.
Hmm.
And she will kiss. She will kiss Sam. Just, but let's just enjoy the enjoy the sport. I really, really had a lovely time.
As did I. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. You want to come back here sometime?
Well, when it's and she, again, like Eileen does not know the full extent of what's going on right now. But she does know that it's not safe to just walk around in the street.
Yeah, she's
So she
aware
she
that
will
there's a
say
war.
like she'll say something like when it's safer. Sure. And as the couple return and go to their places where they need to rest, this scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, players, for playing, and watchers for watching. Good night.